80 metric tons. 23%. 0.134 seconds. In 2019, Green School prevented 80 metric tons of CO2 from entering the atmosphere from renewable energy alone. That's equivalent to over 10 million charges of a single smartphone. Only 23% of that renewable energy is from solar power. And if you wrapped a wire around the entire Earth, electricity would travel through it and all the way back to you in just 0.134 seconds. These facts have stuck with me and have inspired me to learn more about renewable energy. Phase 5 is the 5th phase in the Oros project. To give you a little insight into what that means and how you too will be inspired by it, I'd like to tell you all a story, my story. My Greenstone began the second I walked into class that first day of school. I didn't know it at the time, but this bamboo cathedral was going to be my home for the next 4 years. To be honest, I had no idea what I was going to be saying up here today. I simply followed my passion, I did what I loved, I encountered influential people, and I said yes to every single one of the opportunities that came my way. This is my Greenstone journey. It's no surprise that architecture and sustainable design became my passion. As growing up, all I ever wanted to do was build and create, whether that was with Lego inside on rainy days, or building dams from the river to the ocean near my home in Hong Kong. And like most kids, I would spend hours and hours building dens and tree houses, and constantly thinking up new ways to build them better and stronger. That first year at Green School, I opened myself up to the freedom of the curriculum, and I quickly realized that I could create my own unique learning pathway. Green School offered me the opportunity to develop those childhood interests into something much more real and tangible. I love designing and getting my hands dirty. So the green building classes were always my first choice when the next set of choices rolled around. Grade 9 was the year that I started working with the Oros project, Operation Rain or Shine. I got more involved with the team and the message of the project. Operation Rain or Shine is aimed at creating a system of renewable energy, providing clean electricity in both the rainy season and the sunny season, using both hydropower and solar power. The team was led by experienced educators, Pak Jason and Pak Noan, who both became big influences along my journey. Grade 9 was also the year that I started to take classes with Mikkel, another student who had been there from the beginning of the Oros project and let me in on all the details of the first phase. This is the Oros Dome. We built it in phase 2, but you might know it as the igloo or the white dome. What you might not know, however, is that almost every single student and teacher on campus played a big part in the construction of this building, whether it was ferrying wheelbarrows of soil across the field or filling rice bags with dirt. Now, let me tell you, the PE team were not so happy about this part. The field was destroyed, but it became a whole school project that a lot of students would remember for a long time. It's just like Pak Noan said. It's easy to tell a child, here's what a solar panel does. But if they build part of a wall that is now housing a solar array, they are going to feel so much more invested into it. That is entirely true. It's had a massive effect on me, being part of the construction stages. In grade 10, I gained fundamental construction and designing skills, as well as a fairly basic knowledge of electricity. The project had moved on from earthbag construction to designing and building a bamboo roof. This was now phase 3. Getting deeper involved in the project led to an exceptional opportunity. Mikkel, Pak Noan, and I were invited to travel to Abu Dhabi to represent Green School at the Zayed Sustainability Prize. And while there, we interacted with other schools and energy companies that were taking part in the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week. we presented our stories and experiences of the Oros project. And we encouraged the idea that climate action does not need to start big. Anyone can start their own initiatives or projects that can have a positive impact on the world. Sharing a stage with Mikkel, telling the Oros story to hundreds of other students. What a way to spend my 16th birthday. The main theme of that event was the butterfly effect. Imagine a butterfly flaps its wings in Bali, and a hurricane is caused in Bermuda. It's the idea that one small action can create big changes. Now, I'd like you to keep that in mind throughout the rest of my talk. Grade 11 was the year that I started to look to the future. I said yes to every single one of the opportunities that came my way, and I worked hard. I represented Green School at the IMF conference. That's the Global Banking Organization, not the spy agency for Mission Impossible. Whilst there, I was offered an internship at a bank in Amsterdam. I grabbed this opportunity. But after spending a month there, I realized that banking wasn't the world for me. And when I arrived back in Bali, I jumped straight back into the green building classes that I know and love. In that third year, I had become one of the more experienced students in the class, helping set up equipment, lead some of the student teams, and the safety tutorials as well. I had taken up more responsibility in the class, and I had a newfound respect for my teachers and their hands-on methods. That new perspective helped me strengthen my understanding of green building and renewable energy. After we finished working on the bamboo roof, we started construction on the water storage amphitheatre. This was now phase 4. Essentially, it's a seating area, but with 17,000 liters of water hidden directly underneath. At the beginning of grade 12, I took up more of a co-teacher role in the Oros project, and I dug even deeper into the history and the complexities of renewable energy. I worked closely with Ibudita, Pak Baxter, and Pak Tony. I taught students how to use table saws, safely of course, and I guided groups of students to working with ironwood and metal. Once the amphitheater was complete, we tested the water collection and storage systems to make sure that it all came together into one large system. That marked the end of phase 4. This was now it. Phase 5 had begun. All of the main construction jobs were complete. The E-Hub Dome, the bamboo roof, and the water storage amphitheater. There was only one thing left to do. The focus was now solely on renewable energy. As part of the Oros class, we went up onto the roof of the bamboo, up onto the roof, and we helped install electrical wiring for the solar panels. As much as I wanted to do all of this myself, I couldn't because of safety risks. So a local contractor came in and saved the day. In just 4 months of use, those solar panels had reduced CO2 consumption by 3.7 tons. That's precisely equivalent to planting 202 trees. At that point, I realized that all of the work I had been doing with Operation Rain or Shine and the Zayed Sustainability Prize had been building up to the final stages of my involvement. It had put me in a unique situation where I had the resources and the know-how to run my very own Oros class. Ibudita, Pak Baxter, and Pak Tony had extensive experience in this project, so I reached out to them for their guidance. With their help, I ran an Oros class with 17 high school students, making it the most popular for that block. The class was originally meant to improve the efficiency of the Green School grid, while teaching students all about the complexities of renewable energy, mainly solar and hydro. However, due to certain circumstances, the class switched to online. And instead of working on campus on solar panels, the students learned at home through a set of hands-on tasks. Along with some basic research and electricity assignments, the students learned about the power of the sun through hot air balloon experiments in their own backyard. Their final project was to create a scale model of a renewable energy system made of recycled materials. Most of the students opted to create a water wheel, while some of them decided to go the digital route and created models on SketchUp. I'm not a trained teacher, so I was grateful to have Pak Baxter, Ibudita, and Pak Tony there to support the class. I tried to make the class experiential and as interesting as possible, while still allowing the students to build and create with their hands. Distance learning wasn't the best, but man, seeing those students build and create with their hands, it was such a nostalgic moment for me, and it brought me back to my childhood. I'll be totally honest, I'm not entirely sure how much they actually learned in that class, but it was definitely a good experience and a very good first attempt. Because of the work I did on the Oros project, I was asked to be a guest by the Zayed Sustainability Prize on their talk show called Find the Pioneer. It was live streamed to Facebook and was an amazing experience for me. I was joined by 2 climate change activists and an environmental entrepreneur. Holding a conversation with climate change heroes was a little nerve-wracking, not gonna lie. But do you remember the butterfly effect? How one small action can create big change. That one small act of me joining a green building class oh so many years ago had now snowballed into my voice and my message being heard by over 30,000 people. We, as a generation, as a greater community, simply aren't doing enough to encourage renewable electricity. The problem that I have begun to face on my journey as a student is the false reality of renewable electricity. Most children nowadays know more about solar panels than some adults, just like smartphones or computers. But regardless of age, not enough people truly understand how a solar panel actually works. I definitely don't know everything, but I do know the importance of learning about it at a young age. Let's bring the issue down to a more local scale. The Green School Bali campus, for example. Everyone sees the solar panels on the rooftops, and you all see the vortex spinning down by the river. But very few people actually know how they work, and even fewer understand how they work in a system. I'm willing to bet that not many of you know that when Green School is running at an average production rate, we are providing clean energy to the grid. Now, I don't want to bog you down in the details here, but with the local Indonesian laws about net metering, Green School Bali can export clean energy to the grid and then import it back when we need it. The easiest way to think about this is it's essentially renting the grid as a battery. When all of the renewable energy systems on campus are running smoothly, Green School Bali is not only sustainable, but it also pumps clean, green energy into the Bali power grid. Keep in mind that in this case, sustainable does not mean purely clean energy. At peak times in the middle of the day, when all of the iHub machines are whirring away and all of the fans are on, the vortex and the solar panels alone are not enough to meet that demand. But overnight, the vortex continues to generate a massive amount of electricity, even as all of the other electrical devices, including solar panels, have powered down for the night. Meaning, we can give to the grid more than we take from it. That is the ideal situation that we have with the renewable energy grid today. But inevitably, there are times when one or more of the systems do go offline. Looking back now, the renewable energy class that I taught would have run a lot smoother if I had a resource to help guide me along. And so, to make renewable energy more accessible to young students, I have created a course planner. I have created a learning and teaching resource that highlights all of the key learning moments, mistakes, and accomplishments that I have experienced with Operation Rain or Shine or otherwise. I have designed this course planner so that anybody can teach a renewable energy class. All they need to do is look at the basic guidelines to get started. But the key idea is to make it accessible to students. and allow them to kickstart their own energy project. But don't you agree that it would be a little selfish if Green School Bali kept all of this awareness and knowledge to ourselves? My story exists here. But I think it's time to bring the sister schools into the mix. I want to help educators and students across the world get more involved with this message. So I reached out across the international arm of Green School. Both Green School New Zealand and Green School South Africa are welcoming My Course Planner into their curriculum and are also open to student input. If we, the youth, are going to be the generation of change, we need to start learning about renewable energy as early as possible. It's not only a pivotal moment in time for climate change activism, but also a crucial moment for a change in the ways of education. I hope to empower young people across the world to take part in something that'll give them skills for life. In the pursuit of making renewable energy accessible to young students, I have been on an incredible learning journey. I have met amazing people who have inspired me to make my own butterfly effect. I have Jason, Noan, Baxter, Tony, Mikkel, Harriet, Dita, and so many more to thank for that. Operation Rain or Shine does not end at Phase 5, but it is where I must leave it. My own story with Green School ends here. But for so many other students, it is just beginning. So, remember that one small action can make all the difference. Thank you.